Hey, this morning I had a really bad day in the stock market. I'm old and retired and dependent upon my investments and all of that. And was reading Deuteronomy, and it says here in Deuteronomy chapter 8, when you've come into the land and everything's good and kind of old age, everything's working out pretty well for you, and then it says, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is Him who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may confirm His covenant that He swore to your fathers, as it is this day. And I think of my own dad. Lower middle class family. My dad was a machinist. We could only afford one car. Just those times growing up in the 1950s and 60s, and the legacy that he left me in the Lord, and just knowing how to do things. My dad taught me how to work with my hands, and I look back at a time, and Deuteronomy says it earlier in the chapter, that it was the Lord who humbled you and put you through this time in the wilderness, and then took care of you during that wilderness time. And as a pastor, man, I went through the wilderness times, especially those first few years when we were starting the very first Hope Chapel. And I remember coming to a point where we emptied our savings and put it into checking, and we wrote the checks and paid the bills. And then I laid on a bed and wept, thinking, how am I going to get my dad to let me move back to Oregon from California and live in his basement with my family? And maybe I'll get a job selling used cars. Because I went to a Bible college, and you don't know how to do much else but talk after you went to a Bible college. And so I came to a point where I was pastoring a big church, but we're investing and planting churches all the time. I don't have any money. And so I bought an old car, and I fixed it up for myself, and then I sold it and made a lot of money. And pretty soon I decided I can do this. And so I kind of had a side hustle of I would buy cars and repair them and drive them for a little while and sell them. And then I got into, I'm going to only own the car for a week. And I did that for a little while. And it was the Lord who gave me power to get wealth that today has turned into stock market investments, because I rolled it in and rolled it and rolled it and rolled it. We got to honor God. We got to be thankful for the dark times, for the humbling times, because those are the times that drive us to innovate and to do side hustles and to learn things and to get ahead. And so I just hope these couple of minutes in the Bible are a blessing to you.